Welcome to the 7th Bangalore Business Literature Festival. Thank you for being our steadfast sponsor, and thank you for doing this session, Lessons for Brand Custodians from the Pandemic. A brief introduction about Sudhakar. He's an engineer, done his PG from IIM Bangalore. This was a surprise for me to know that he did design thinking workshop at MIT Sloan Management School. Yep, so he's been a brand head ICFI group for the last 9 years. His singular achievement is that he's responsible for turning the ICFI brand into a strong education brand of India. Congratulations, Sudhakar, for that.
Thank you, Benedict.
Best of luck.
Yes, Benedict. Thank you very much for introducing me. And I'm extremely happy to be here. This is the 4th time we are associating with Bangalore Business Literature Festival. My congratulations to you on the 7th edition, and congratulations to all the organizers. Special greetings to Professor Raghunathan. We have a very special relationship with Professor Raghunathan. He helps us on many occasions. So thank you very much, sir. And we are extremely delighted to be here. I welcome all the participants, journalists, authors, entrepreneurs, storytellers, and many other students and academics who are part of this session today. I'll straight away begin my talk. This is about some of the lessons that we all can learn from the pandemic, especially the brand custodians, how they can actually steer forward their brands and how they need to establish their brands in times of stress. This is a very big topic, and generally we have a lot of issues and points to make. But then I'll restrict my whole discussion to just 3 case studies or 3.5 case studies. And within the given time, I'm sure I'll be able to manage that discussion of these 3 case studies. So if you permit me, then I'll share my screen and straight away we can get into the topic. So lessons for brand custodians from the pandemic. The first one is Cottonelle. Cottonelle is a toilet paper brand. It is, of course, it is from Kimberly-Clark. The situation in the US was that there was panic buying of these toilet papers, we all knew. So there were product shortages, not just toilet papers, but others also, but we focus on this one. So the stores were rationing out the toilet papers, and there was frustration for the customers. And also the sales went up by 213%. This is a context of last year, second week of March 2020. So in this situation, what did Cottonelle do? They started a social media campaign which enthused the consumers to avoid owning toilet paper. That was a necessity. So they partnered with United Way, and they ran a hashtag on social media called Share a Square. Now, every time a person used a hashtag on social media, the company donated $1. So $1 donation from the company goes if you use one hashtag. And that was like, user generated donations they were making. And of course, they capped it at $1 lakh because there has to be some cap. But additionally, the parent company, Kimberly-Clark, also pledged $1 million and 1 million rolls of Cottonelle toilet paper. And this, they're sending it through the non-profit called United Way. The campaign resulted in something like huge impressions on Insta that went up, 22% on Insta and 27% on, this is TikTok, spelling is wrong. So they managed to create this kind of thing for others also. There's a supermarket by the name Giant, which ran a hashtag for more for all. They were in groceries and all. They urged the shoppers to curb panic buying. And then JanSport, it's a backpack brand that also followed the suit. They ran another hashtag challenge on TikTok, and they pledged about 10,000 backpacks through another non-profit, which was involved in helping people who struggle with hunger and poverty. So the lessons here for this brand, which has taken this particular route, is basically to tone the marketing messages in times of crisis like this, emphasize on 2 important aspects, altruism and empathy. Now, you have to be seen as doing good, or you stand for the good of larger community. And empathy is like placing yourself in others' shoes. And that's a very, very important aspect, urging the customers to demonstrate their generosity and be considerate during the pandemic. So these are the lessons which Cottonelle gives us during its campaign last year. Now, Amul is an Indian case study. This is a very big brand, and this is an amazing story. And I'll take a little bit of time here to explain what has happened. The beautiful organization, the situation was, of course, same. The pandemic was affecting everyone. Sentiments were down. There were salary cuts and job losses. Everybody's spending was down. For various organizations, the brand purpose took a back seat, and they were focusing only on what kind of money they could save or not spend. And the situation was very bad, where factories were shut down and production stopped across categories and across industries. Now, in this, the different situation that Amul had or faced is that obviously they cannot stop cows from producing milk. That's an activity that will keep on going without any consciousness of a lockdown. Therefore, that is one concern. Second concern was lakhs of farmers were dependent on this society. So complex distribution chain that Amul was actually worried about, because they every single day they take 250, 2.5 lakhs of milk, liters of milk. 3.6 million farmers are involved in this, and so many cooperative societies, like 18,700 village cooperative societies, which is processed. The milk is taken and processed at 18 dairy processing plants and is distributed through 5,000 tankers and 1,000 cities it has to actually take into on a daily basis. So this is mind-bogglingly big distribution chain, which is complex, and they have to manage this. Therefore, these are the issues that they had. And during the lockdown, they had an insight that milk consumption would go up. Now, and they were also looking for some kind of hygiene and some kind of safety. So Amul was focusing on how they can communicate that their products came through safe and sanitized channels. And another important fact we need to remember that Amul spends always were lesser. The ad to sales was 1% for Amul, whereas for other organizations it was 8 to 15%, which we can compare. So what did they do? They spent heavily on print, on television and OTT platforms, and chairman himself, Mr. R.S. Sodhi, appeared on media to convey this in order to lend the credibility to the message. He himself appeared on various platforms, and they focused only on milk, and they did not promote other products. They sacrificed the usual promotion of summer ice cream offers. So they sponsored Ramayana and Mahabharata also, which was telecasted again, and Retro Sundays. They played their old ads from 1980s, and then that caused consumers to generate memes. That was very, very interesting and bringing smiles to various consumers. They also had Facebook Live recipe show, and in the first 24 hours, I think they had about 2.1 crore Facebook accounts that they reached. On a single day, 66 lakh views and 87 crore Facebook users they finally managed to reach, with 12.4 crore minutes of viewership. And I'm sure the number would have changed now, but it has helped a lot of chefs to reach out to their customers, because the hospitality industry was also down and restaurant business was also down. So this helped them to reach out to their own customers, and it involved more than 3,000 chefs, and they conducted 1,250 shows when we understood this last year. I am sure they conducted more, or they're still conducting. They also had these topical ads. Always they had these topical ads, and flattening the curve is very interesting that they always talk about. Atmanirbhar was done as Atma Khanirbhar, your own self-sufficient kitchen. This is to express their thanks to the frontline healthcare workers in sickness and in health, Amul. And this is a tribute to women who are working from home. They're taking care of children, family, and at the same time working from home. So they epitomized favorite all-rounder and sent a tribute to women. And of course, they mark themselves as yellow zone. Yellow zone is nothing closer to butter, but this is very clever. Whereas the government, the health ministry, had red zone, orange zone, and green zone, as we all knew. The re-telecast of Doordarshan, Ramayana, was sponsored by Amul, even Mahabharata, and they call it Mahabutter. And that was fantastic and smart. And video conferencing that was going on is one more topical for them. So all in all, as a summary, they put purpose over profit, and they shine like a beacon of hope and light, and they wanted to actually spread total positivity in such times of doom. They focused on basics, they focused on milk, they focused on basic fundamental marketing tenets. They stayed relevant, and they built trust. I think this is what is going to be a lesson for anyone who is in this high value, highly visible customer front-ending businesses. There's another brand, Corona Beer. This had obviously a name like pandemic, and in America, 38% folks said they would not consider purchasing Corona, whereas in UK, the sales went up by 40%. That could be a slight aberration for this discussion, but let's focus on America. So what did they do? They associated themselves with a campaign of environment cleaning the beaches. If you purchase 6 packs of beer, 1 square meter of beach will be cleaned. So they exchanged plastic for beer, and that went on very well. They partnered with Parley. So harmful effects of plastics on environment was something that they addressed. It was a long-lasting, good cause that they stood for. They upcycled even the cans, and people took the pictures of their upcycled materials and posted on social media. So that went viral, and it was a very, very good campaign. And there are several things that they had done to promote this particular campaign, and they finally managed to clean up huge number of beaches, 1 million square feet at beaches in 10 countries and 100 locations through this fantastic campaign. And they are known for doing such campaigns. And there is one video which I wanted to run, but I'm sure there's no time, so I'll just skip that. It's a fantastic edited video for their football matches in Mexico. Yes, they were accessible, reliable, and sustainable. They built meaningful relationship with customers through environmental activism, and this association with something essential helped them even overcome the wrong association of the name aligned that sounded with the name of the pandemic. So that was the second case. This is the video which I am not going to play because it will take my time. Amazon is something which I'm going to play. Now, Amazon story is that there was a backlash when Jeff Bezos called people to donate for Amazon's contract employees in spite of being the world's richest man, one of the world's richest men. So their donations were less, but that did not gel well with the public, and there was a backlash. And here is the video, which is self-explanatory. And after this, I'll stop.
My last video, I attended 10,000 Race, where each ring of rice was $100,000, and that was to show the scale of it, $1 billion. Well, a lot of you guys ask me, well, how much does Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos have in terms of price? So that was my mission. I went to Target, I bought a digital food scale, I came home, and once I brought it home, I went to work. I also want to say that I have 5 families that are going to take this unused rice. Okay, so what we've been waiting for, 100K, 1 billion, 1 billion. Jeff Bezos is 122 of these, or 58 pounds of rice. If each grain of rice was 100K. Like, look how big this is. I'm going to show you the scale here. I'm going to put a keyboard in just for one. Look how deep that goes. That's insane. This is Jeff Bezos' new house. It's $145 million in LA. And oh my God.
Yes. So brands have to be transparent, and they should connect with the fact that they stood for a greater cause, and that should be very, very genuine. It should not be purpose washing or wake washing. It has to be very, very genuine and long lasting. If you suddenly say that you stand for a certain cause just because you want to ride on the opportunity, it will not work. On the ground, you should have actually delivered and demonstrated the actions related to your organization and that particular cause. Otherwise, it will not be treated. Customers are looking at you, eyes wide open. They're constantly watching you, and they want all your brands to stay your course and also stand for a particular cause, and very genuinely and very transparently. And then they will excuse you even if you have other small mistakes that you would have made, which all the brands make. So the lessons for the brand custodians is that during the wartime, you don't have to struggle. But during the peacetime, build the brand and have very good, long-standing, well-meaning associations throughout. That will only help us stay our course, and our purpose will be very clearly visible and accepted. Thank you.